like a little bit of control in how they happen. If you tell them to turn that off, I will talk to you a little more freely.
All right, YouTube. Let's see what is in store for me today. What kind of crazy ass things are going on in the world. Yeah, I'm here for another reaction. And yeah, let's get into it. I don't have much to say at the beginning of these. Just support the channel, subscribe, like the video, comment if you feel necessary. I really appreciate that. But at the end of the day, I'm here, kind of just like I watch these videos on my own time, right? So it's just kind of like making a reaction video is kind of like just aligned with what I'm doing already. So it's kind of like a hobby, but yeah, I would really appreciate, if I could get to the point where I can get monetized and stuff like that. That would be really awesome. But yeah, anyways, just overall, just enjoy the video, enjoy the content, and yeah, I'll just gonna get right into it. Another day, another. Oh, let's see what this. The moment detective finds the body.
On Saturday, August 28th, 2021, the Greenville County Sheriff's Office in South Carolina received an alarming 911 call.
Greenville County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Okay, the thing is, a sitter was supposed to show up to stay with my mom today, and she's in her 80s. Her name is Edna Suttle, and she didn't show up.
That's such a cute name, Edna. That's such a cute name.
Oh. This is not like her. She shows up like clockwork. So something's wrong.
The sitter being referred to is an 80-year-old woman named Edna Suttles. Even though Edna is retired, she frequently assisted the elderly community in her hometown of Travelers Rest, South Carolina. According to the caller, it was very uncharacteristic of Edna to be absent without giving notice. Law enforcement was immediately dispatched to Edna's residence to check up on her. They knocked at her door several times and looked through her window, but Edna never answered. The only person home was Edna's dog. Considering Edna's age, along with the unusual circumstances, authorities were concerned that Edna may have had some sort of emergency, so they made many efforts to locate her. First, they tried calling her cell phone, but there was no answer. Then, they contacted Edna's family and friends, but they were also unsure where she was. They then contacted multiple hospitals near her home. Each hospital confirmed that Edna was not a patient there. Law enforcement promptly opened a missing persons case and obtained a search warrant for her residence. Inside her home, there was still no sign of Edna. Her purse, shoes, and medication were missing, and her gold Jeep Grand Cherokee was not parked in the driveway. There was also no sign of a forced entry, and nothing suspicious that would indicate foul play. Law enforcement put out a Be on the Lookout, aka a bolo, on Edna's Jeep, and continued to canvass the area near her home. 1 week after issuing the bolo, on September 3rd, 2021, the vehicle was spotted parked at a Best Western hotel in Travelers Rest. According to the hotel, Edna had not checked in at this location, so police immediately obtained and reviewed the hotel's surveillance footage. Lucky for them, the hotel had a security camera pointed directly at the parking lot. Edna's vehicle can be seen pulling into the parking lot of the hotel, but to the detective's surprise, the person who exited the vehicle was not Edna. Instead, it was a middle-aged man. He can be seen walking around the vehicle, wiping down both the exterior and the interior. He then walks away from the vehicle and out of the camera's view. This behavior sparked significant concerns that this man may have harmed Edna and was attempting to wipe away the evidence. Who is this man? Why does he have Edna's car? And where is Edna? As the detectives worked to answer these questions,
sad,
they just...
I want to go drink my coffee. It's empty. That's the saddest moment of my day so far.
discovered two more businesses with cameras that captured both the Jeeps and the mystery man's movements. The first camera was at an antique store that was located right next to Edna's residence, which provided a view of her driveway. The second camera was at a nearby grocery store called Food Lion. Starting from Friday, August 27th, 2021 at 9:22 a.m. The same man from before can be seen pulling into the Food Lion's parking lot in his silver Chevy Cruze sedan. At 9:30, footage from the business beside Edna's home captured her leaving in her gold Jeep. Edna makes her way to the Food Lion while the mystery man does some shopping, purchasing a 4-pack of strawberry yogurt. By the time he exits the Food Lion at 9:39 a.m.
That is so freaking weird for a grown-ass man to go to the store and only buy yogurt. I don't know, man. That's weird as freak.
Edna has arrived and is parked close to the entrance of the store. He gestures to her on his way back to his car, as if they know each other. After picking up a small bag from his vehicle, he heads back to Edna's Jeep and the two drive off together. It seems like this man was no stranger, and that their meetup at the Food Lion was likely pre-planned. The two then drive back to Edna's residence. Shortly after returning to her house, she placed a call to one of her daughters at around 10:13 a.m. That particular phone call was the last time that Edna's family would hear from her. 3.5 hours later, at around 1:43 p.m., the Jeep is once again captured leaving her driveway and heading in the direction of the Food Lion. At 2:02 p.m., the Jeep can be seen pulling into the Food Lion again, but this time it finds its way to the back of the parking lot, far from any other traffic or surveillance cameras. The unidentified man then steps out of the driver's seat and returns to his Chevy Cruze, which is still near the entrance of the grocery store. He promptly parks his sedan next to the Jeep. Despite the poor visibility of this footage, police believed that they were watching the man transfer Edna's body from the Jeep into the passenger seat of his sedan. At the very least, Edna seemed unconscious, as there was no movement coming from the passenger seat. He then hops back into the Jeep and drives away, arriving at the Best Western parking lot a few minutes later. As seen before, he wipes down the vehicle and then casually walks back to his sedan parked at the Food Lion. He then exits the parking lot toward the North 25 highway, along with what was presumed to be Edna's unconscious body. The collection of video evidence ends there, but thanks to the high-quality footage inside the Food Lion, police were able to create a comprehensive profile of the mystery man. A tall, middle-aged white man with a distinctive birthmark on the left side of his face. In this same footage, the man can be seen using a frequent shopper loyalty card during the strawberry yogurt transaction. Police were able to find this transaction in the store's records to obtain the personal information attached to it. The owner of this loyalty card was 58-year-old Daniel Glenn Prince. Daniel Prince lived in Rutherford County, North Carolina, about 70 miles away from the town of Travelers Rest. He worked as a traveling handyman, but his business model was questionable to say the least. His clientele typically consisted of elderly women. And as you'll find out later, Daniel had a pattern of developing intimate relationships with these customers. Digging into Daniel Prince's records revealed that his criminal history was quite extensive. He had spent 13 years in prison for a kidnapping conviction in the state of Michigan. He was released in 2009, and his parole was terminated 2 years later in 2011. Not only that, but he also had a handful of other convictions, including firearm possession by a convicted felon and battery. Despite Daniel's worrisome past and the comprehensive surveillance footage, authorities were still unable to obtain an arrest warrant for kidnapping or homicide charges. However, after interviewing Edna's inner circle, it was made clear that Daniel would not have had the permission to drive Edna's Jeep. So, detectives were able to obtain an arrest warrant based on grand theft auto. The Jeep was located in the parking lot of the Best Western Hotel, which was in Greenville County, South Carolina. Daniel's residence was located about an hour away in Rutherford County, North Carolina. So, Greenville investigators collaborated with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office for the remainder of this investigation. The body cam footage you are about to see is from September 9th, 2021, as officers arrive at Daniel's property to make the arrest.
Brace yourself. I don't know, I feel like there's about to be something that, I don't know, man. It sucks because I'm in a position in my life where I feel like, I've had really horrible I've been in really bad situations with people to the point where it's like I really secluded myself from people and just have this thing in my mind that people suck. So I'm just at this stage now, especially, having children, that I don't want to be like that. I want to be open-minded and open-hearted, and I want to believe that people are just doing the best they can and they're good people, and man, it's just not true. I mean, maybe they're good, but like deep down, I don't know, but people are mentally ill. Because never in my life, I mean, I have committed like little crimes like when I was, years back, but I learned from them. Like I got caught. You know what I'm saying? Like, if me and two of my other friends did something, I would be the one to get caught type thing. Like, and I just never liked getting in trouble. And I just don't like conflict. I don't like getting mad. I don't like, I don't know, man. People are mentally ill. I just rather not. I just rather not. Bro. Catch me inside. Catch me inside. How about that? Or how about don't catch me at all? How about that? How about leave me alone? How about fuck this shit,
Totally cooperating. Just relax. Not doing anything without cooperating.
bro? Don't tell me to relax. When you kidnap and murdered somebody, bro, don't tell me to relax. I don't know where your mind's at, bro. What the fuck you talking about?
Stand up in your feet. Yeah. Walking back. That's my wife. She's not gonna do anything. Yes, sir. Do you mind if I take your hat off for just a second, please? See what you need. Sir, I will be very cooperative. All right, let's try that, please. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. This is like a Hollywood TV big-time takedown or something.
Following his arrest, Daniel was brought to the station for questioning. It became apparent very quickly that Daniel was withholding information.
So you already met my partner, John. Once again, I'm Grant Walter. Okay. Both of us are investigators down in Greenville County, South Carolina. Yes, sir. Okay.
Because he probably had this whole plan of getting rid of her body, and he's probably 100% sure that there's no DNA of hers in correlation with his, and he's probably 100% sure in his own mind that they will never find a body, they will never be able to correlate. So he's gonna be like, where's the proof? He's one of those. Where's the proof? You can't find anything? Then I'm out. Let me go. You don't have no proof on me, you have nothing to hold me here, then boom. This is probably where his head's at. That's why he's so calm. That's why he's so like, to me he's giving the energy of I'm good. Like I don't have nothing to worry about, So he probably thinks that his plan is like and he's good to go. He don't have anything against him.
I've never been to Greenville, South Carolina in my life. Okay, fantastic. I've never been to Greenville, South Carolina in my life. Okay, fantastic. I've never been to Greenville, South Carolina in my life. Okay, fantastic. Why am I here, sir? I'll talk to you about August 27th, 2021 this year. Where do you think you were at? I've been going all over the place. I've been back and forth to Charlotte. I've been down to South Carolina. Where's your jobs in South Carolina taking you? Actually, I was down to Traveler's Rest, but I don't know if it was Friday or Thursday. I know I'd been there earlier that week. Okay. Actually, I was down to Traveler's Rest, but I don't know if it was Friday or Thursday. I know I'd been there earlier that week. Okay. I've never been to Greenville, South Carolina in my life. Okay, fantastic. But you don't remember which day specifically? No, it was either Thursday or Friday. What kind of job were you working on?
Maybe he doesn't know it's in Greenville. I don't know what I'm trying to be on his side, but maybe he doesn't know his geography that well. Maybe he doesn't know that it's located in Greenville. He just sees it as Travelers West. Maybe. It's possible. Or he's just playing really...
I wasn't. This lady had talked to me several times. I've been down to her house 2 or 3 times. We kind of got to be friends.
Daniel proceeded to describe how he met Edna through his job as a handyman. He had gone to Traveler's Rest several times to see what she needed help with, but there was always an excuse as to why she couldn't pay for his services. Basically, it was a waste of Daniel's time and gas money.
The thing is, she's so sweet and so nice, and you want to help her, and she says, if I get work for her, I'll probably get other work. That's good. I mean, that's great. So you've been down there a couple of times that week? It could have been 2 times that week. It might have just been once. And can I see my one phone? This one? Yeah. Yeah, 27th of Friday. That's not ringing a bell? No, because I have my events marked here and here.
Okay. So you were down there on the 25th?
I think I was down there on the 24th.
Okay. All right, so
Why are we...
what you're telling us is that's not you on the 27th? Food Line parking lot, Traveler's Rest?
I don't think so.
That's not you.
That's me. Where's that?
Food Line, August 27th, 2021, 9:23,
Okay.
32 seconds. Ringing a bell?
Yep.
Yeah, so what were you doing down there that day?
She wanted me to look at some stuff at her house.
Okay.
And she picked me up at Food Line because she wanted me with her when she was gonna go meet some guy for God damn.
Lies. Because she didn't go meet nobody. You guys went back to her place. So, hey, I don't know what year this was. 2025, especially, with the amount of cameras, technology and everything. If they bring you in and start having specific questions about specific things, days, timings, majority of the time they have something, they have proof. So lying about it or saying I've never been to Greenville, like, it's just, you look stupid, like, to be honest with you. So when we talk about the body and we talk about DNA, that's where you can start, if you want to play that game, you want to play the not guilty, or you are not guilty, but it's just like when you're not guilty, it just comes off differently. You know what I mean? Like, when you have nothing to hide, it comes off differently. First of all, you'll never have a brain fart like that when you have nothing to hide. If you can't remember, you say I can't remember, and you speak out loud, like trying to put the pieces together. Okay, if I was, I seriously, I can't remember, like, because it happens. You know what I mean? But it's clear that this guy is lying, and his brain is like backtracking himself, like, hey, saying, Bob, you're saying this, well, this is the case, like, what's going on here? That's why he's having this brain fart.
Private investigator.
Okay, yeah. Tell us about that.
She wanted me to meet her down there.
Okay.
She was nervous because she says, I'm not sure I trust this guy. And she knows I've been in the military. And she says, will you meet me? And I go, yeah. So I went down to Food Lion, and she met me. And he didn't show up where we went to next. And she had been trying to get a hold of him. And we went to her house for about 2 hours. And then we went back to Food Lion. And
Daniel would spend half of this interview reiterating the same story, that he was Edna's bodyguard, and Edna needed him to protect her when meeting up with a shady private investigator. However, the details of his story contradicted the surveillance footage, so they challenged his lies with more printed screenshots of the video evidence.
what were you driving? I was driving a blue car.
Your wife's car or your car?
My wife's car.
You got a work truck?
No.
Okay. So that's y'all coming down 25, you and her together?
It could be.
Okay. Yeah, here's a different angle, but I mean, we've watched this car, right?
Okay.
Here's y'all in the hotel parking lot. Oh, look. You get out. Nobody else gets out.
I told you that.
You're walking around the car.
Yeah.
You wipe the entire car down.
Because I was worried.
You were worried. And there's you.
Worried for what?
Getting back into your car.
Worried for what? Why did the detective stop right there and say worried for what? Worried for what? What in the entire world will you be worried for? That, okay, maybe you can be worried for something, but to wipe down the car, why are we wiping down the car? You're worried for what? that you would have to be wiping down the car from your DNA. Or from DNA matching what you had done to her. Why did he not ask that? Why? I should be a detective, I think.
Alright, and driving away. Oh, she's with me. Look, man. Where's it? We need to know where it is. Her family is desperately looking for her. She's missing right now. Yes, Dan, where is it? I don't have a clue. My past...
That was not a good move from the detective. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because he already was, like, not being cooperative. So you're going to take a non-cooperative person and hit him in the face with the most... To them, because they're pleading not guilty, they're pleading innocence, you're going to hit them with the most offensive thing to say. Is that this person is missing. They know that they know that, you know, she's probably dead. But they have this mask on, this innocence, not guilty. So for you to ask, where's the body, is like, well, what the hell are you saying to me? What do you mean, where's the body? Because why would I know where the body? Like, it's you're gonna take offense to that.
So a long time ago, a kidnapping probably makes this look really stupid. But that's not me. Really. That's what we're saying, man. I didn't do anything bad.
Despite the detective's efforts, Daniel continued to lie and deny any involvement in Edna's disappearance. But that didn't mean that he was on his way home just yet. As this interview was taking place, investigators were actively executing a search warrant on his house. A whopping 22 firearms, some with missing serial numbers, were confiscated from his residence. This led to Daniel being charged with several state firearm violations, including possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number, 2 counts of possession of an unregistered short-barreled rifle, and 2 counts of possession of a short-barreled rifle with an obliterated serial number. Police also found a North Carolina license, passport, bank statement, debit card, and social security number that belonged to a 66-year-old woman named Nancy Rago. This raised serious red flags. The police feared that Edna might not have been Daniel's only victim. As the search of Daniel's property continued, investigators found more incriminating evidence that validated their suspicions. They uncovered 28 different
This is not what I love. Mind you, obviously, I don't like the fact that these things happen. Like, I'm not. But really, this is where criminal justice gets difficult, because you can't really go anywhere if you don't have evidence, right? So it's like when the evidence is not only there, but the evidence is gold. It's like that's obviously it's not good for the person being found guilty, but I mean, they did what they did, right? They deserve it. But that's good for everybody, and obviously not the victim as well, obviously, you know, but for the people who love Edna and know her, or just the victims who know the victims and whatever, like, it's just kind of like, okay, obviously we don't like that this happened, and, you know, obviously we would prefer if this didn't happen, and a lot of the time it completely tears people apart. But at least we have closure to, like, okay, not only do we know who did it, and here's the proof, but they're being locked away for a long time. And this is also why I believe in the death penalty, but we won't. It is what it is, I guess.
Electronic devices, including several cell phones. Detectives wondered if these devices belonged to Daniel's other victims. With this evidence pointing towards a potential serial killer, the FBI became involved in the investigation. While being held in custody, Daniel was met by FBI Special Agents Justin Newsom and Aaron Carlisle.
Hey, sir, how are you? Good. Hey, how are you? I'm good. Thank you very much. FBI? Yes, sir. Okay. All I'm here today is just trying to sort things out. I'll sort things out. Okay. Right. And I want to make sure things are kind of, everything's looked at that needs to be looked at. And so you're probably one of the better people that can help me figure out what those things are. Okay. That's kind of why I'm here. So I'm just going to let you are a very intelligent man. I'll just let you know. I don't know why you say that if I'm sitting here. Well, actually, some of the smartest people I met before sat across from me, so yeah, I don't take any for granted.
As you can see, these detectives spent a large portion of this interview easing into the harder questions, showering Daniel with compliments along the way. This is what is referred to as the ego up technique. To put it simply, detectives apply this technique by praising Daniel and the crime at hand, hoping to instill a sense of pride in him. If done correctly, Daniel would then take ownership of the crime and confess. In this case, Daniel was clearly flattered, but this technique was unsuccessful in provoking a confession.
You know, I honestly feel you guys are just trying to find Edna. I 100%. I want to find her. Like, it's really our goal. It's not what we care about, really, right now. I do too. All right, let me ask you this. If you were doing my job, and I ask this all the time to people, if you were doing my job, what would you do to find Edna? Like, you know her better than we will ever know her. What would you do to find Edna? I honestly couldn't answer that for you doing your job any more than you can doing your job, because I don't have.
Just like the last interview, Daniel continued to deny any involvement in Edna's disappearance. They then asked Daniel about Nancy Rago. They learned that Daniel first met Nancy in 2015 through a classified ad that he posted online. Despite Daniel being a married man, he developed a romantic relationship with Nancy while she was living with her mother, Dolores Sellers. Dolores suddenly passed away in November of 2017. According to the autopsy report, Dolores died of natural causes. But detectives felt that something was off, especially after learning that Nancy had disappeared around the same time. Nancy was never reported missing because the family would periodically receive emails or texts from someone claiming to be her. But that person always declined to meet up or speak with anyone any further. According to Daniel, he was listed as having power of attorney over Nancy's bank account, which continued to receive Social Security deposits and had transactions almost every day since she went missing. Authorities theorized that Daniel had kidnapped Nancy, gained access to her finances, and was actively using her debit card. But at this point, that's all this was, a theory. So they wrapped up Daniel's second interview and continued with their investigation. Over the next few days, the electronic devices found at Daniel's home were analyzed, and law enforcement determined that some of these devices belonged to Nancy, Dolores, and Edna. They also found a phone that belonged to a Florida woman named Lee Goodman. Investigators learned that Lee and Daniel had met in September of 2018. Using information from Lee's cell phone, investigators determined that Lee had disappeared within days of meeting Daniel. However, the exact circumstances surrounding her disappearance remained a mystery, as her body was never found. Investigators used Nancy and Lee's disappearances as a means to obtain a second search warrant of Daniel's home. And on September 23, 2021, the search was executed. Investigators found partially full pill bottles prescribed to Nancy. The medications included cyclobenzaprine, tramadol, and lorazepam. They also found a white bag containing various items, including zip ties, a taser, lubricant, and crushed pills in a sandwich bag labeled Ativan. Throughout this investigation, Daniel's wife was in the process of preparing to sell their North Carolina home. Part of this process included enlisting her friends to help tidy up the property. On October 9, 2021, one of these friends stumbled upon a bee box approximately 75 yards from the home, in an area mostly surrounded by trees. Inside the box was a handful of personal items that seemed related to the ongoing investigation. So, they decided to notify the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office of this discovery. A third search warrant was issued, and the bee box was inspected by authorities. Inside the box was a woman's purse, rope, more zip ties, medication, an empty yogurt container, and keys for a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Beside the box, they found more items, including a shovel, a pickaxe, and straps. Approximately 30 feet away from the box, authorities found an interior vehicle panel, along with a black trash bag and a tarp. Inside that black trash bag was various items that belonged to Edna, including a bracelet, earrings, and a pair of shoes. All of these items were sent in for forensic testing. The residue on the walls of the yogurt container came back positive for cyclobenzaprine, tramadol, and lorazepam, the same medications prescribed to Nancy. These substances are known to induce drowsiness.
Now we know why he went to the store to pick up just the yogurts. He had everything else he needed. He just needed the fucking yogurts. Holy
dizziness, and relaxation. They also tested the white plastic bag, which had Edna's DNA on it. They believed that Daniel used this mixture of prescription medication in the yogurt to drug Edna before suffocating her with the plastic bag. The next day, on October 10th, 2021, a police canine trained to detect the odor of human decomposition searched Daniel's property but did not locate any remains. However, the canine detected a strong scent at the location where the vehicle panel, trash bag, and tarp were recovered. On October 13th, 2021, the FBI confronted Daniel yet again, this time armed with a mountain of evidence. To their surprise, Daniel was now ready to cooperate. According to court documents, before the interview began, Daniel said that he wanted to fully disclose his sins, and stated that he knew he would likely spend the rest of his life in prison.
There are things that have to happen, and there are things that are going to happen. And I'm a realist, and I have acceptance with this. I would like a little bit of control in how they happen. If you tell them to turn that off, I will talk to you a little more freely.
Finally, the major breakthrough that the detectives had been waiting for. Daniel was now ready to provide detailed information about all 4 women. He said he would only come clean if the camera was turned off and he had an attorney present during the interview. The detectives complied with his demands, but were still able to record with an audio device.
I would have a very frank conversation with you.
If you are comfortable talking to
I'm
me.
incredibly comfortable talking to you,
Okay.
and I feel like I can talk to you one guy to another. I would prefer not to have the death penalty on the table. I think that would be more.
I think that's the only thing that makes sense, honey bunny. I would prefer the audacity, bruh. What the heck is wrong with people? Mental illness is crazy, bro. So you can go around kidnapping people, killing people, getting their paychecks, using their money when they're dead because you killed them. And then you say, I would prefer if I didn't get the death penalty. Who are you to prefer anything? Who are you to prefer anything? What the heck where is this? Why are you? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Like, what?
Warranted for this degree of contrition and help. And I'm willing to help you with this stuff. Because I really, truly, it's eating away at me, man. I want it off my conscience.
Before Daniel would reveal the details of his crimes, he
It will
requested
never
a
leave
plea.
your conscience. It will haunt you for the rest of your life. You might as well get the death penalty if you want it off your conscience, because it will never leave your conscience. You're guilty of it. It will haunt you for the rest of your life. I'm gonna help you. I will help you out. How about you should have helped yourself from the beginning and never done any of it at all? Because we're way past this you helping us type of thing.
Deal that would spare him from the death penalty and being federally prosecuted for Nancy, Dolores, and Lee's disappearances. After authorities agreed to this plea deal, Daniel proceeded to admit to the murders of all 4 women.
What is the number that I need to go back and just say there's
Number of human beings? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know that sounds like there's a lot of bodies here.
When describing his role in Dolores and Nancy's deaths,
Are you
he said that
serious?
he hypothetically...
Bro, one is not even, like, one is way too many. One. 4?
assisted a close friend with the euthanasia of a family member. He then looked up at the detectives and said, "That is one body." The close friend, Nancy, then had feelings of remorse and was apparently going to tell law enforcement. Daniel then said Nancy was the second body. Daniel did not report the death, but instead disposed of the body so he could keep collecting her Social Security benefits. Unexpectedly, Daniel also described another incident in which someone tried to rob him, but the robbery did not work out well for the robber. He stated that after the attempted robbery, he drove to a rural area, disposed of the body, and cleaned up from the incident. While Daniel was clearly keeping things as vague as possible, He did disclose some more specific details about the 4 women's deaths. Dolores Sellers was killed in November of 2017 by a lethal dose of prescription drugs. It is unclear how this was missed in the initial autopsy. Nancy Rago disappeared in November of 2017, but was killed in January of 2018 by a gunshot. Nancy's whereabouts during those 2 months are uncertain. Lee Goodman was killed within the days of meeting Daniel in September of 2018. Her cause of death is unknown. Finally, Edna Suttles was sedated by Daniel with prescription medications and kidnapped from her South Carolina home. He then drove her to his North Carolina home, where he killed her and buried her body in a remote wooded area near his property. The detectives then asked Daniel if he could guide them to the burial site.
Can you just help me get that closure for Edna's family? Or do you at least know a good location? I could give you within 3 feet.
8 months following this interview, on May 16, 2022, Edna's body was recovered after Daniel was escorted to his property and was able to direct the officers to the exact burial spot. Edna's lifeless body was found lying on her side, still fully clothed, and with her jewelry intact. Despite being buried for 8 months, her body was still in decent condition, and authorities were able to perform a full autopsy. The autopsy confirmed that Edna had been drugged by Nancy's prescription medication mixed in the strawberry yogurt. The cause of death was strangulation. On June 21st, 2022, Daniel Prince pled guilty to kidnapping resulting in death in regard to the disappearance and death of Edna Suttles.
We certainly want to thank y'all for joining us today as we announce an arrest and subsequent plea deal has been reached in connection with the disappearance and death of Edna Suttles. She went missing from Greenville County on August the 27th of 2021. This investigation uncovered the man responsible, a man who has now been identified as a serial killer residing in Boston, North Carolina, 59-year-old Daniel Glenn Prince.
Due to Daniel's request for a plea deal, he successfully avoided the death penalty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Daniel Prince will spend the rest of his life in the USP Hazleton Federal Correctional Complex in Preston County, West Virginia, or as its inmates call it, Misery Mountain.
I mean,
He was a sick-minded individual, dangerous individual. He preyed on the elderly. He preyed on females.
Now Prince will face the remainder of his life behind bars.
Is being held accountable and cannot commit future acts of violence against innocent women in our community.
alright, so I mean, it does suck that he didn't get the death penalty. I feel like even him, like if I was a judge, just him saying I would appreciate if I didn't get the death penalty, bro, automatically, bro, you're getting the death penalty, bro. What the fuck you talking about? Because, like, what the heck? Somebody like that shouldn't be alive. They shouldn't even be. People that should be in prison are like people who, first of all, don't directly murder people. I think murderers, intentional murderers, especially serial killers, should have the death penalty. I think jail and prison should be for people who like crimes that affect the lives of people and are crimes, but don't intentionally kill people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like battery, theft, selling drugs, anything with drugs. So obviously drugs can lead to death, but it's like, most of the time it's like you're selling drugs to get the money to provide, like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, but murder, I mean, I don't agree with any crimes, to be honest with you, but murder, especially serial killers, they should have the death penalty. That's my opinion. But what does my opinion matter, right? Anyway, rest in peace to, those 4 beautiful ladies, and hopefully he has a really hard time in prison. Hopefully the guilt eats at him. And what year was he sentenced? Did it say? 2021, so yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's still alive. We can see. What is his name?
The man responsible, a man who has now been identified as a serial killer residing in Boston, North Carolina. 59-year-old
Daniel Glenn Prince. Daniel. Oh, no. I mean, I guess I wanted to see if he... still alive. I guess, I don't know. We don't know. But anyways, you know, thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for, you know, same type of content, and comment if you want to comment. But yeah, another video, another day, another sick-minded person. Yeah, thank you for watching. Catch you next time. Peace out.